He grabbed her hair before she could scream. One moment, Lily Chen was carrying a tray of coffee. The next, she was being dragged across the diner floor by a man in a $3,000 suit. "Did you think you could leave me?" Tyler Prescott's voice was ice wrapped in silk. "Did you think being poor would protect you?" The coffee cup shattered. Customers froze. No one moved. No one helped. Except the man in military camouflage sitting at the counter, and the German shepherd already on his feet, teeth bared, a growl building in his chest like thunder before a storm. Commander Jake Harrison set down his coffee. "Let her go." Before we begin, tell us where you're watching from in the comments below. Subscribe and follow the story to the very end. You won't believe what happens next. The evening had started like any other at Mama Rosa's diner. Lily Chen moved between tables with the practiced efficiency of someone who had learned that speed meant survival. 24 years old, slender, with long black hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She wore the same faded uniform she'd worn for 2 years. The tips were decent. The customers were mostly kind. And more importantly, no one here knew who she used to be. Or who used to own her. "Order up, mija!" Mama Rosa's voice cut through the dinner rush. "Table 7's been waiting."
Got it.
Lily grabbed the plates, balancing them on her forearm the way Rosa had taught her. Muscle memory. Survival skill. Don't think, just move. She didn't notice the man at the counter watching her. Commander Jake Harrison had been driving for 16 hours when he pulled into the diner parking lot. 12 years Navy SEAL. 3 deployments he couldn't discuss. Scars he couldn't explain. And a German shepherd in the passenger seat who had saved his life more times than he could count.
Hungry boy?
Ranger's ears perked forward. The dog was 5 years old, tan and black coat gleaming despite the dust of travel, amber eyes that missed nothing. He'd been retired from active duty after taking shrapnel in his left hind leg. The limp was barely visible now, but Jake hadn't been willing to send him to some military kennel. They were partners. They stayed together. Inside the diner, Jake found a seat at the counter. The place smelled like home cooking and coffee that had been sitting too long. He didn't mind. After months of MREs and mess halls, anything civilian felt like luxury. "What can I get you, soldier?" Jake looked up. An older woman stood behind the counter, Cuban by her accent, with warm eyes and silver-streaked hair. "Coffee, black, and maybe a burger if the kitchen's still open. For you? Always." She extended her hand. "Rosa Martinez, this is my place." "Jake Harrison."
Just passing through.
Rosa's eyes moved to the dog sitting alertly beside Jake's stool. "He's beautiful. Military?" "Retired. Both of us, actually." "My husband was Army. 30 years. Rosa's smile softened. "He would have liked you." She poured his coffee and disappeared into the kitchen, leaving Jake alone with his thoughts. That's when he noticed the waitress. Not because she was beautiful, though she was, in a fragile way that spoke of exhaustion rather than art. He noticed her because of how she moved. Hypervigilant, always checking the door, always measuring distances to the exit. Jake had seen that movement pattern before. In combat zones, in refugee camps, in places where people had learned that danger could arrive without warning. He watched her deliver food to a corner booth, her smile bright, but not reaching her eyes. Watched her flinch when a customer laughed too loud. Watched her hands tremble slightly as she counted change. Someone had hurt this woman. Someone might still be hurting her. The bell above the door chimed. Jake's instincts fired before his conscious mind caught up. Threat assessment. Automatic. Ingrained. The man who walked in was wrong. Everything about him screamed wrong. The designer suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent. The blonde hair styled with calculated carelessness. The smile that showed too many teeth and not enough humanity. But mostly, it was the eyes. Jake had seen eyes like that in warlords, in traffickers, in men who had learned that money could buy anything, including silence. The temperature in the diner dropped 20 degrees. Lily saw him. Her face went white. The coffee pot in her hand slipped, crashed to the floor, sending glass and liquid spraying across the tile. Tyler. His name came out as a whisper, a prayer, a curse. Tyler Prescott III spread his arms wide, as if greeting an old friend. "Hello, Lily. Did you miss me?"
How did you...
Lily's voice cracked.
How did you find me?
"Baby, I've always known where you were. I just wanted to give you time to realize your mistake." Tyler walked toward her slowly, deliberately, the way a predator stalks prey that has nowhere left to run. 2 years, Lily. 2 years you've been hiding in this place. He said the word like it tasted bad. You need to leave. Lily's hands were shaking so badly she couldn't hide it. We're done. We've been done for 2 years. Done? Tyler laughed, a cold sound that made other customers shift uncomfortably in their seats. We're done when I say we're done. That's how this works. That's how this has always worked. He reached out and touched her face. Lily flinched like she'd been burned. Please. Her voice dropped to something barely audible. Please, just go. Go? I drove 4 hours to find you. I've spent a fortune tracking you down, and you want me to just go? Tyler's fingers curled around her jaw. I don't think so. Tyler, you belong to me, Lily. You've always belonged to me. These little rebellions, these childish attempts at independence, they're cute, but they end now. Let go of me. Or what? Tyler's grip tightened. You'll call the cops? Baby, my father owns the cops. You'll hire a lawyer? My family has lawyers on retainer you couldn't afford in 10 lifetimes. He leaned closer. You have nothing. You are nothing. And the sooner you accept that, the easier this will be. I said let go! Lily tried to pull away. Tyler's other hand shot out and grabbed her hair. She screamed. The sound cut through the diner like a siren. Customers gasped. Phones came out. But no one moved. No one intervened. Because Tyler Prescott wasn't just any man. He was wealth. He was power. He was the kind of man who destroyed people who crossed him and called it Tuesday. Don't make a scene. Tyler's voice was almost gentle as he yanked Lily toward the door. You're embarrassing yourself. Let go of me. I said. She said, let go. The voice came from behind them. Calm. Quiet. Absolutely deadly. Tyler froze. Jake Harrison had risen from his stool without making a sound. He stood in the aisle now, feet shoulder-width apart, hands loose at his sides. His Navy uniform, forest green and brown digital camouflage, seemed to absorb the fluorescent light. His eyes were fixed on Tyler with an intensity that made the air feel thin. Ranger stood beside him, teeth bared, a low growl building in his chest. Who the hell are you? Tyler didn't release Lily's hair, but his confidence flickered. Someone who doesn't like what he's seeing. This is none of your business, soldier boy. Walk away. Can't do that. Can't or won't. Same thing, Tyler laughed, but there was no humor in it. Do you have any idea who I am? Do you have any idea who my family is? I know what you are. Jake took a step forward. That's enough. I'm warning you. No, I'm warning you. Jake's voice dropped to something quiet and terrible. You have 3 seconds to let her go. After that, things get complicated. Complicated? Tyler's face twisted with contempt. You think because you're wearing a costume you can threaten me? My father will have your career. He'll have you court-martialed. He'll... 2. Listen to me, you ignorant... 1. The door behind Tyler burst open. A man in a black suit entered. Massive, scarred, clearly hired muscle. He took one look at the situation and moved toward Jake. Boss, you want me to handle this? Tyler's smile returned. Please. The bodyguard reached inside his jacket. Ranger moved. The German Shepherd crossed the distance in a heartbeat, positioning himself between Jake and the bodyguard with a snarl that made everyone in the diner flinch. I wouldn't. Jake's voice was almost conversational. He's trained to disarm. You reach for that weapon, you lose the arm. The bodyguard froze, eyes locked on the dog's teeth. This is insane. Tyler yanked Lily's hair harder, making her cry out. Do you really want to do this? Over some waitress? She's not some waitress. She's a person, and you're hurting her. She's my girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend. Lily's voice was raw with pain, but defiant. I left you. I left, and I never looked back. You don't get to leave me. Tyler's composure finally cracked. No one leaves me. No one... Jake moved. One moment he was standing still. The next he had Tyler's wrist in a grip that made the younger man gasp. The fingers tangled in Lily's hair went slack. She stumbled away, gasping, hand pressed to her scalp. Let go! Tyler tried to pull free. Let go of me! Do you know what I'll do to you? I know what you've done to her. Jake's voice was ice. I've seen the way she moves, seen the fear in her eyes, seen the flinch when someone raises their voice. His grip tightened. How many times, Tyler? How many times did you hit her? I never... Don't lie to me. Something in Jake's tone made Tyler stop struggling, made him actually look at the man holding him. What he saw made his face go pale. You're insane, Tyler whispered. You're actually insane. Maybe. Jake released him with a shove that sent Tyler stumbling backward. But I'm the kind of insane that protects people. You're the kind that hurts them. Tyler straightened his suit with trembling hands. His eyes darted to his bodyguard, still frozen under Ranger's gaze. Then to Lily, pressed against the counter with tears streaming down her face. This isn't over. His voice shook with rage. You have no idea what you've started. I know exactly what I've started. The question is whether you want to finish it here or somewhere with more witnesses. Tyler looked around the diner. Phones were out. People were recording. The story would be online before he reached his car. This isn't over, he repeated. Not even close. He grabbed his bodyguard and stalked toward the door. At the threshold, he turned back. Lily, I'll see you soon. The door slammed behind him. The diner was silent for a long moment. Then Lily's legs gave out. Jake caught her before she hit the floor. She was shaking violently, her breath coming in ragged gasps, tears soaking into his uniform. You're okay, he murmured. He's gone. You're okay. No. Lily's voice was barely a whisper. No, I'm not. You don't understand. He'll come back. He always comes back. Then we'll be ready. You can't. You don't know him. He has money. He has connections. He's destroyed people who tried to help me before. I'm not people. Jake guided her to a chair, motioning for Rosa to bring water. I'm something else entirely. Lily looked up at him through tear-blurred eyes. Who are you? Someone who doesn't look away. Ranger patted over and pressed his warm body against Lily's legs. She reached down instinctively, her fingers sinking into his fur, and something in her seemed to steady. He'll hurt you, she whispered. He'll hurt everyone who tries to help. Let him try. Rosa appeared with a glass of water and a damp towel. She pressed the towel to Lily's face with practiced gentleness. Mija, you should have told me. I couldn't. I didn't want to put anyone in danger. You think I'm afraid of some rich boy with more money than sense? Rosa snorted. I've survived worse. Jake crouched down to Lily's level. I need you to tell me everything. Who he is, what he's done.
Why you're so sure he'll come back? Because he always does.
Lily's voice cracked. I've tried running before. I've tried hiding. I even tried going to the police. Nothing works. His family is too powerful. There's always a way. You just haven't found it yet. What way? What could possibly... Jake's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, frowned, then stood. Excuse me for 1 second. He stepped away, answering quietly. Rosa hovered nearby while Lily tried to stop shaking.
Who is he? Lily asked. The soldier?
I don't know, mija, but I know the look in his eyes. Rosa touched her shoulder. That's the look of a man who has made powerful enemies and won. Jake returned, his expression unreadable. That was an old friend, FBI analyst. I asked him to run Tyler Prescott's name. And? And Tyler Prescott has been investigated before. Multiple times. Stalking, assault, harassment. Jake's jaw tightened. 3 ex-girlfriends filed complaints. All 3 withdrew them within weeks. All 3 received large payments shortly after. He buys them off. Lily's voice was hollow. He offered me money too. When I refused, he got creative. There's something else. Jake's voice dropped. A 4th woman. She didn't withdraw her complaint. She disappeared. 3 years ago. Last seen getting into a car matching Tyler's vehicle. Lily's face went gray. He told me about her once, she whispered. When he was drunk. He said she learned what happens when you don't cooperate. I thought he was just trying to scare me. He was, but not about that. Oh, God. Lily pressed her hands to her mouth. Oh, God. Oh, God. Listen to me. Jake crouched in front of her again. I know you're scared. You have every right to be. But I've spent 12 years making problems disappear. Not with money, not with connections, with patience, with planning, with the understanding that every bully, every monster has a weakness. What's his weakness? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find it. Jake's eyes met hers. And when I do, Tyler Prescott is going to learn what it feels like to be the one who's afraid. The diner door opened. Everyone tensed. But it was just a customer, an elderly man who looked confused by the atmosphere. Sorry, Rosa said quickly, recovering. We're about to close. No worries, just wanted coffee. He shuffled toward the counter. Jake stood, his mind already racing through tactical assessments. Lily, do you have somewhere safe to stay tonight? I have an apartment, but he knows where I live. Then you're not going there. I can't just... You can stay with me, Rosa interrupted. I have a spare room. No arguments. Rosa, I can't put you in danger. You think I survived 30 years in Miami just to be afraid of some spoiled rich boy? Rosa's eyes flashed. My husband faced worse every day. I face worse every day. You stay with me until this is settled. Jake nodded. Good. I'll keep watch outside. You don't have to. I'm not asking permission. Jake whistled softly, and Ranger was instantly at his side. Tyler said he'd see you soon. That means he's planning something. Tonight. Maybe tomorrow. We need to be ready. For what? For whatever he throws at us. Lily stared at this stranger in military camouflage. This man who had stepped between her and danger without hesitation, without calculation, without even knowing her name. Why? She asked. Why would you do this for someone you don't know? Jake was quiet for a moment. Then, because someone should have done it a long time ago. For you. For the women who came before you. For the one who disappeared. His voice hardened. Because men like Tyler Prescott count on the world looking away, and I'm not very good at looking away. Ranger pressed against Lily's legs again, and she found herself crying. Not from fear this time, but from something she'd forgotten how to feel. Hope. Outside, the night pressed against the windows. Somewhere in the darkness, Tyler Prescott was planning his next move. But he wasn't the only one. Jake Harrison had spent 12 years dismantling networks, extracting hostages, and eliminating threats that most people couldn't imagine. Tyler Prescott thought his money made him untouchable. He was about to learn how wrong he was. The first strike came at 3:47 a.m. Jake was sitting in his truck across from Rosa's house, Ranger alert beside him, when his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You made a mistake, soldier boy. Now everyone you care about pays." He didn't respond. Instead, he forwarded the message to Marcus Chen, his FBI contact, and went back to watching the street. 30 minutes later, a black SUV rolled slowly past Rosa's house. No plates, tinted windows. It didn't stop, but it didn't have to. The message was clear. "We know where she is." Jake's jaw tightened. He had expected Tyler to move fast, but not this fast. The man was either more dangerous than he'd assumed, or more desperate. Either way, it was going to be a long night. Inside Rosa's guest room, Lily couldn't sleep. She lay on the narrow bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing through every terrible possibility. Tyler had found her once. He would find her again. It didn't matter where she ran or how carefully she hid. He had money. He had resources. He had a pathological need to own her that no amount of distance could cure. A soft knock at the door made her flinch. "Mija? Are you awake?" "Yes." Lily sat up as Rosa entered carrying 2 cups of tea. "I thought you might need this." "Thank you." Lily took the cup, wrapping her hands around its warmth. "I'm sorry for bringing this to your door. Stop apologizing." Rosa settled into a chair by the window. "You think I haven't seen trouble before? My husband was Army, 30 years. I've had men with guns at my door more times than I can count." "That's different. Trouble is trouble. The only thing that changes is the uniform." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Rosa asked quietly, "How did you meet him, this Tyler?" Lily closed her eyes. 3 years ago, I was a sophomore at State, pre-med, full scholarship. I was working catering at a charity gala to make extra money. He was there, handsome, charming, interested in everything I said. They always are at first. I'd never had anyone look at me like that, like I was special, like I mattered. Lily's voice cracked. I was so stupid. You were young and hopeful. That's not stupid. It felt that way later, when I realized what he really was. Tell me. Lily set down her tea. Her hands were trembling again. It started small. He wanted to know where I was, who I was with. He'd show up unexpectedly, at my classes, at my job, at my apartment. He said it was because he missed me, because he couldn't stand to be apart. Control disguised as love. Exactly. Then he started criticizing. My clothes, my friends, my grades. Nothing was ever good enough. Nothing I did was ever right. Lily's voice dropped. The first time he hit me, I told myself it was an accident. He'd been drinking. He apologized for days, bought me flowers, promised it would never happen again. But it did. Again and again. And every time I told myself it was my fault, that if I just tried harder, if I just loved him better, he would stop. Rosa reached over and took Lily's hand. That's what they want you to believe. That's how they keep you trapped. I finally left after he put me in the hospital. Broken rib, concussion. The doctors asked questions, but Tyler's family, they have connections. The police report disappeared. The medical records were modified. Lily's tears fell freely now. I realized then that no one was going to help me, that I had to save myself. So you ran. I dropped out of school, liquidated everything I had, changed my phone, my address, my whole life. Lily wiped her eyes. I thought I was free. I thought 2 years and 1,000 miles would be enough. It's never enough for men like him. No. Lily's voice was hollow. It's never enough. Outside, Jake's phone buzzed again. Marcus Chen's response. Tyler Prescott III. Father is Harrison Prescott, founder of Prescott Development Group. Net worth estimated at $800 million. Connections to half the judges in 3 states. Multiple complaints filed against Tyler Jr., all withdrawn or dismissed. FBI has been watching the family for years, but can't get anything to stick. Jake typed back. I need everything you have. Coming your way. Jake, be careful. These people don't play by rules. Neither do I. Jake opened the files Marcus sent and began to read. The picture that emerged was worse than he'd expected. Tyler Prescott III had a pattern. He targeted vulnerable women, students on scholarship, waitresses, single mothers, women who couldn't afford lawyers, women who had no one to protect them. He charmed them, isolated them, and then systematically destroyed them. 3 documented victims, all paid off after withdrawing complaints. And then there was the 4th. Her name was Rebecca Santos, 22 years old, nursing student. She dated Tyler for 8 months before trying to leave. Unlike the others, she hadn't accepted money. She'd filed a police report, contacted a reporter, threatened to go public. 2 weeks later, she disappeared. The official investigation concluded she had left the area voluntarily. Her car was found at a bus station. Her accounts went dormant. Her family never heard from her again. Jake stared at the photograph attached to the file. Rebecca Santos had been beautiful. Dark hair, bright smile, eyes full of the hope that life hadn't yet beaten out of her. She looked a lot like Lily. At 6 a.m., Jake knocked on Rosa's door. Lily answered, her eyes red from crying, from not sleeping, from carrying the weight of fear that had become so familiar she'd almost forgotten what its absence felt like. We need to talk, Jake said. They gathered in Rosa's kitchen, Lily, Rosa, Jake, and Ranger lying watchfully at his feet. Tyler's been busy, Jake began. His people drove past this house twice last night. He sent me threatening texts, and I got a call from a buddy at the local PD. Tyler filed a complaint against me for assault. Assault? Lily's voice rose. He grabbed me. You were defending... Doesn't matter. His version says I attacked him unprovoked. His bodyguard will back him up. So what does that mean? It means we're on a clock. If the local cops come looking for me, I can't protect you. Rosa slammed her hand on the table. This is insane. He attacks her in my diner, in front of witnesses, and somehow you're the criminal? Welcome to the justice system when you're fighting money. Jake turned to Lily. I need you to tell me everything about Tyler, not just the abuse, his business, his family, his friends, anyone who might have turned against him, any weakness we can exploit. Why? Because we're not going to beat him by running. We're going to beat him by bringing him down so hard he can never get back up. Lily stared at him. How? He has everything. Money, lawyers, cops. He has resources. So do I. Jake leaned forward. I've spent 12 years taking down networks more powerful than Tyler Prescott could ever imagine. Warlords, cartels, traffickers. They all had money. They all had connections. They all thought they were untouchable. His voice hardened. They were wrong. This isn't a war zone. Every place is a war zone when innocent people are being hurt. Rosa nodded slowly.
What do you need from us?
Information. Everything Lily remembers about Tyler's operation. His habits, his employees, his weaknesses. And I need you to keep her safe while I make some calls.
What kind of calls?
Jake smiled, a cold expression that didn't reach his eyes. The kind that make powerful people very uncomfortable. The first call was to Marcus Chen. I need deep background on the entire Prescott family, financial records, property holdings, business associates,
And I need to know about Rebecca Santos, the woman who disappeared. Jake, this is getting into dangerous territory. I've lived in dangerous territory for 12 years. This is Tuesday. The Prescotts have connections everywhere. If they find out you're investigating, let them find out. Let them come. The second call was to Victor Reyes, former DEA agent turned private investigator. I need you to track down Tyler Prescott's previous victims, the ones who withdrew their complaints. Find out what really happened. Find out if any of them are willing to talk. That's going to cost you. I don't care about cost. I care about results. The third call was to Elena Martinez, federal prosecutor in the next state over. I need a favor. Jake, the last favor you asked for almost got me disbarred. This one's cleaner. I just need you to look at a case file. Missing person from 3 years ago. Rebecca Santos. A pause. Why? Because I think she's not missing. I think she's dead. And I think Tyler Prescott killed her. The longest pause yet. That's a serious accusation. I know. If you're wrong, I'm not wrong. I just can't prove it yet. Elena sighed. Send me what you have. No promises. That's all I ask. While Jake made calls, Tyler Prescott made plans. He sat in his penthouse apartment 300 miles away, rage burning through him like acid. The humiliation of the night before played on repeat in his mind. The waitress, the soldier, the dog, the phones recording everything. By now the video was online. Comments were flooding in. His name was being dragged through digital mud. Sir? His assistant appeared in the doorway. Your father's on line 1. Tyler grabbed the phone. Dad, before you say anything, shut up. Harrison Prescott's voice was ice. I just had to make 6 calls to keep that video from going viral. Do you have any idea how much this little stunt is going to cost us? It wasn't a stunt. I don't care about the girl. I care about the family name. I care about the business. I care about the merger I've been working on for 18 months that could be destroyed if people start asking questions about my son's hobbies. Dad, fix this. Whatever it takes, make this go away. The line went dead. Tyler threw the phone across the room. It shattered against the wall. His bodyguard appeared. Sir? Find out everything about the soldier. Name, address, family, everything. Tyler's voice was quiet, but his eyes were murderous. And get the team ready. We're going back to that town. When? Tonight. Back at Rosa's house, Lily was trying to remember. He has a cabin, she said, sitting across from Jake at the kitchen table. Up in the mountains. He took me there once. Said it was where he went to clear his head. Location? I don't know exactly. 4 or 5 hours from here. Near a lake. Jake made a note. What else? There's his assistant, Craig. He's been with Tyler for years. Handles everything. If there are secrets, Craig knows them. Would he talk? I doubt it. Tyler pays him well, and Craig's afraid of him. Everyone's afraid until they have a reason not to be. Jake leaned back. What about enemies? Anyone Tyler's crossed who might want revenge? Lily thought about it. His college roommate, David something. They had a falling out senior year. Tyler destroyed his career over it. Do you know why? I think David found out something. Tyler never told me what. Just said that David learned his lesson. I'll find him. Jake studied Lily's face. The exhaustion, the fear, the fragile hope she was trying so hard to hide. How are you holding up? I'm terrified. Lily's voice was raw. Every time I close my eyes, I see him, standing in the diner, grabbing my hair, telling me I belong to him. You don't belong to anyone. I know that. Logically, I know that. But 3 years of hearing something, 3 years of being told you're worthless, you're nothing, you'll never escape. It doesn't just disappear. No, it doesn't. Jake's voice softened. I've seen men broken by less. Soldiers who survived firefights but couldn't survive coming home. The mind is harder to heal than the body. Does it get better? Eventually, with help, with time, with the understanding that what happened to you wasn't your fault. It feels like it was. That's the lie they want you to believe. That's how they keep you trapped, even after you've escaped. Lily met his eyes. How do you know so much about this? Jake was silent for a moment. My sister. 20 years ago. She married a man like Tyler. By the time anyone realized what was happening, she was too afraid to leave. What happened to her? She died. Hit and run. They never found the driver. Lily's hand covered her mouth. Jake. I was 16. I couldn't help her. Couldn't save her. Couldn't do anything except watch her disappear into that marriage and never come back. His voice hardened. That's why I don't look away. That's why I can't. I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry. Just survive. That's how you honor the ones who couldn't. That afternoon, Victor Reyes called back. Found one of the victims, Amanda Torres. She's living in Phoenix now, under a different name. She's willing to talk, but only in person, and only if you can guarantee protection. Tell her I'll be there in 2 days. There's more. She says she kept evidence, recordings, photos, stuff Tyler doesn't know about. Jake's pulse quickened. What kind of evidence? She didn't say, but she was scared, Jake, really scared. Whatever she has, it's big. Get me her address, and Victor, make sure no one follows you. The second call came from Marcus Chen. I found David Chen, Tyler's old roommate. He's a lawyer now, working in Seattle. And here's the interesting part. He's been quietly building a case against the Prescott family for the past 4 years. What kind of case? Corporate fraud, money laundering, and possibly, this is unconfirmed, possible connections to Rebecca Santos's disappearance. Why hasn't he gone public? Because every time he gets close, witnesses disappear or evidence gets destroyed. He thinks someone inside law enforcement is feeding information to the Prescotts. Can you connect me with him? Already done. He's expecting your call. Jake hung up and found Lily watching him from the doorway. What's happening? We're building a coalition. People who have been hurt by Tyler. People who have evidence. People who want him to face consequences. And then what? Then we bring him down. Together. You make it sound easy. It won't be easy. It'll be the hardest thing any of us has ever done. But it will be worth it. Lily stepped closer. Why are you doing this? Really? You don't know me. You don't owe me anything. Jake looked at her for a long moment. Then he pulled out his wallet and removed a worn photograph. A young woman, dark-haired, smiling, frozen in time. Her name was Sarah, my sister. She was 23 when she died. He handed the photo to Lily. She looked like you. Same fear in her eyes. Same hope fighting against despair. Jake, I couldn't save her.
I was a kid. I didn't have the skills, the resources, the knowledge. All I could do was watch.
That's not your fault.
I know, but it's my responsibility now to make sure what happened to her never happens to anyone else. He took back the photo. That's why I'm doing this. Not because I know you, because I know what happens when no one helps. Rosa appeared in the doorway.
Mijo, there is something you should see.
They gathered around Rosa's old television. A local news broadcast was running a story. Breaking news tonight. Accusations against local hero Commander Jake Harrison, recently returned from overseas deployment. Sources say Harrison assaulted local businessman Tyler Prescott in an unprovoked attack at a diner yesterday evening. Prescott's family is demanding Harrison face criminal charges. Lily's face went white.
They're spinning it, she breathed. They're making you the villain.
Of course they are. Jake's voice was calm. That's how it works. Attack the accuser. Control the narrative.
What do we do?
We get our story out there first. Jake pulled out his phone. I know a reporter at the Washington Post. She's been trying to investigate the Prescott family for years. It's time we gave her something to write about.
Won't that make Tyler more dangerous?
Tyler is already dangerous. The only difference is whether he's dangerous in the shadows or under the spotlight. Jake met her eyes.
I choose the spotlight because monsters hate being seen.
That night, while the others slept, Jake sat on Rosa's porch with Ranger at his feet. His phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. You can't protect her forever. Sooner or later, you'll make a mistake. And when you do, she's mine. Jake typed back for the first time. Come and try. The response came instantly. On my way. Jake looked at Ranger. The German shepherd's ears were already forward, his body tense, sensing something his handler couldn't yet see. They're coming, boy. Get ready. Ranger's growl was low and steady. Somewhere in the darkness, headlights flickered to life. The headlights turned off 3 houses away. Jake watched through the darkness, his hand resting on Ranger's collar, feeling the tension coiled in the dog's muscles. 2 figures emerged from the SUV. Big. Professional. Moving with the deliberate confidence of men who were used to violence. Stay, Jake murmured to Ranger. Not yet. The men approached the house on foot. They paused at the edge of Rosa's property, exchanging words Jake couldn't hear. Then one of them pulled out a phone, snapped several photos, and retreated. Reconnaissance, not attack, not tonight. Jake exhaled slowly. They were testing him, measuring response times, looking for weaknesses. 2 could play that game. He memorized their faces, their builds, the way they moved. Former military, probably. Private security. The kind of men who asked no questions as long as the money was good. When they drove away, Jake finally went inside. Rosa was waiting in the kitchen, shotgun across her lap. They're gone, Jake said.
For now.
Rosa didn't lower the weapon.
How many?
2. But there'll be more. Tyler's testing the perimeter.
Then we need to move Lily.
No, Jake shook his head.
If we run, he wins. He'll just keep following, keep hunting. We need to end this here. How? By giving him what he wants.
Rosa's eyes narrowed. Explain.
Tyler wants Lily. He's obsessed with owning her. That obsession is his weakness.
Jake sat down across from her.
We use it against him. Draw him out. Make him overconfident. And when he makes his move, we catch him.
You want to use her as bait.
I want to use his obsession as a weapon. There's a difference.
Is there? Jake met her eyes. I would never put Lily in danger she didn't choose. But this only ends one way. With Tyler exposed, arrested,
and unable to hurt anyone ever again. And that requires him to incriminate himself beyond any doubt. And if something goes wrong? Then I'll be between him and her, same as I was in the diner. Rosa studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. I trust you, mijo. God help me, I trust you. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when that bastard is in chains. The next morning, Jake drove to Phoenix. The trip took 7 hours. He left Ranger with Rosa, partly for Lily's protection, partly because the dog drew too much attention. A man traveling alone was invisible. A man traveling with a military canine was memorable. Amanda Torres lived in a small apartment complex on the outskirts of the city. She answered the door with a chain still latched, her eyes wide with fear. You're the one Victor sent? Jake Harrison. We spoke on the phone. Show me ID. Jake pulled out his military credentials, his driver's license, everything he had. Amanda studied them through the gap in the door for a full minute before finally undoing the chain. You can't be too careful, she said, stepping back to let him in. Tyler has people everywhere. I know. Amanda Torres was 31 years old, but she looked older, the kind of aging that came from years of hypervigilance, from never sleeping soundly, from always waiting for the next blow. Thank you for seeing me, Jake said. I almost didn't. Amanda gestured to a worn couch. Sit. I'll make coffee. You don't have to. I need something to do with my hands. Otherwise I'll start shaking, and I won't be able to stop. She disappeared into the tiny kitchen. Jake heard the sounds of a coffee maker, the clink of cups, the small rituals of normalcy that kept people grounded. When she returned, her hands were steady. Victor said you're helping someone. Another one of Tyler's interests? Her name is Lily. She worked as a waitress. Tyler found her 2 days ago. Is she safe? For now. But he won't stop. You know that better than anyone. Amanda's face tightened. I know. Tell me about your experience, if you're willing. She was silent for a long moment. Then she began to speak. I met Tyler at a fundraiser. I was working coat check, trying to pay my way through community college. He was charming, attentive, made me feel like I was the only person in the room. That's his pattern. I know that now. I didn't know it then. Amanda's voice dropped. The first year was a dream. Fancy dinners, expensive gifts, promises of a future together. Then it changed. How? Slowly, so slowly, I didn't notice until I was trapped. He started criticizing everything. My clothes, my friends, my job. Then he started controlling where I went, who I talked to. Then, her voice broke. Then the hitting started. Did you go to the police? Twice. The first time, they took a report and nothing happened. The second time, they told me Tyler's father had called personally to clarify the situation. They said if I filed another complaint, I'd be charged with making false statements. So you stopped trying. I stopped believing anyone would help. Amanda wiped her eyes. When I finally left, Tyler found me in less than a week. He showed up at my new apartment with flowers and apologies. When I told him to leave, he beat me so badly I couldn't see out of my left eye for a month. How did you finally escape? His father, Harrison Prescott, offered me $200,000 to sign an NDA and disappear. I took it. Used the money to build a new identity, move across the country, start over. She laughed bitterly. Some days I feel like I sold my soul. Other days, I'm just grateful to be alive. Victor said you kept evidence. Amanda's eyes flickered. I'm not supposed to talk about that. The NDA becomes void if Tyler commits additional crimes, which he has, multiple times. You're sure? Positive. And if you help us, we might be able to put him away for good. Amanda stared at him for a long time.
Then she stood and walked to a bookshelf. She pulled out a hollowed-out book, the kind used for hiding valuables, and removed a flash drive. Everything's on here. Voice recordings, photos of my injuries, text messages he sent threatening to kill me if I talked. Her hand trembled as she held it out. I kept it because I knew someday someone would need it. Jake took the drive carefully. This could change everything. That's what I'm afraid of. Amanda's voice was barely a whisper. If Tyler finds out I gave you this, he won't find out. Not until it's too late. Promise me. I promise. Amanda nodded slowly. Then, unexpectedly, she stepped forward and hugged him. Save her, she whispered against his shoulder. Save Lily. Don't let him take another one. I won't. The drive back took longer. Jake stopped twice to make secure calls. First to David Chen, Tyler's former roommate. Mr. Chen, my name is Jake Harrison. Marcus gave me your number. I know who you are. I've been following the news. David's voice was cautious. You're the soldier who stood up to Tyler in that diner. I need your help. With what? Building a case, a real one, one that can't be buried or bought off. Silence. Then, I've tried for 4 years. Every time I get close, evidence disappears. Witnesses recant. Judges get reassigned. Because you've been fighting alone. What if you had backup? What kind of backup? Former military, FBI contacts, a federal prosecutor who's willing to take risks, and most importantly, new witnesses who are ready to talk. How many? 2 confirmed, possibly more. David exhaled slowly. You understand what you're asking. If we go after the Prescotts and fail, they'll destroy us. All of us. And if we don't try, how many more women suffer? How many more disappear? Jake's voice hardened. I'm not asking you to do this for me. I'm asking you to finish what you started 4 years ago. A long pause. What do you need from me? Everything you have on the family. Financial records, business dealings, and whatever you know about Rebecca Santos. Rebecca. David's voice changed. Heavier. Darker. That's why Tyler and I had our falling out. I found out what happened to her. Tell me. Not over the phone. Come to Seattle. I'll show you. I'll be there in 2 days. Jake's second call was to Elena Martinez. I have evidence, recordings, photos, documentation from one of Tyler's previous victims, and I'm about to get more from his former roommate. Jake, I need to warn you. I've been getting pressure. Someone in the Prescott organization knows I'm involved. How? I don't know, but they're threatening to open an ethics investigation if I pursue this case. Are you backing out? Silence. Then, no, but I need to be careful. If I'm going to prosecute Tyler Prescott, I need the case to be bulletproof. No holes, no weaknesses, nothing his lawyers can exploit. That's why I'm building the coalition. Multiple victims, multiple sources of evidence. A pattern so clear, even the most expensive lawyers can't explain it away. How long do you need? 1 week. Give me 1 week. You have 5 days. After that, I either move forward or I have to step back. 5 days. Got it. Back in Rosa's town, things were escalating. Lily called Jake while he was still on the road. Someone broke into my apartment. Jake's grip tightened on the steering wheel. Are you hurt? No, I wasn't there. Rosa insisted I stay with her. Lily's voice was shaking. But they destroyed everything. My clothes, my photos, my mother's jewelry. They left a note. What did it say? Next time, it won't be your things. Stay with Rosa. Don't leave the house. I'm 3 hours out. Jake? We're close, Lily. Really close. But we need to be smart. Don't let him panic you into doing something reckless.
I'm trying. I'm really trying. But every time I close my eyes...
I know. Jake's voice softened. Just hold on. A few more days. Then this ends.
Promise?
I promise. When Jake arrived at Rosa's house, he found Lily curled on the couch with Ranger pressed against her side. The German Shepherd had positioned himself between her and the door, eyes alert, ready. "Good boy," Jake murmured, kneeling to scratch behind Ranger's ears. "Good boy."
He hasn't left my side since you called.
Lily's voice was hoarse.
It's like he knows.
He does know. That's what he's trained for.
Protecting people?
Recognizing when someone needs protection. Jake sat across from her. "Tell me about the break-in." Lily recounted everything. The shattered window. The destruction. The note, written in red marker on her bathroom mirror.
They knew exactly where everything was, she said. My mother's jewelry was hidden in a shoebox at the back of my closet. No one knew about that except
Tyler.
He gave me that jewelry for my birthday. He made a big deal about how expensive it was, how I should hide it to keep it safe.
Her voice cracked.
He was planning this, even then. He was planning for the day I'd leave, and he'd use it against me.
That's how predators think. Long-term, strategic. Jake leaned forward. But we're strategic too, and we have something he doesn't. What? Numbers. Amanda Torres gave me evidence today. David Chen is ready to share what he knows about Rebecca Santos. Elena Martinez is preparing federal charges. Jake took her hand. Tyler thinks he's still in control. He's not. He just doesn't know it yet.
What if it's not enough? What if his father's money makes it all disappear again?
It won't. Because we're not fighting on his turf anymore. We're fighting on ours. Rosa appeared in the doorway.
Mijo, there's someone at the door.
Jake was on his feet instantly. Who?
Says his name is Officer Daniels, local PD. He has a warrant.
Jake's blood ran cold. For what?
For your arrest. Assault charges filed by Tyler Prescott.
The next 30 minutes were chaos. Officer Daniels, a young cop who clearly didn't want to be there, presented the warrant with apologetic professionalism.
I'm sorry, sir. I have to take you in.
I understand. Jake kept his voice calm. Can I make a phone call first?
One call. Make it quick.
Jake dialed Elena Martinez. They're arresting me. Assault charges.
I know. I just got word. Jake, this is a setup. They're trying to remove you from the equation.
What do I do?
Go quietly. Don't give them any excuse to add charges. I'll have a lawyer at the station within the hour.
And Lily?
Keep her safe. I'll contact Rosa directly.
Jake hung up and turned to Lily, who was standing frozen, her face white with terror. This isn't over, he said quietly. This is just a tactic. They're trying to separate us.
I know,
her voice trembled.
But what if?
No what ifs. I'll be out in a few hours. Stay with Rosa. Keep Ranger close. And don't give up.
I won't.
Jake nodded to Officer Daniels. Let's go. They led him out in handcuffs. Lily watched from the window, tears streaming down her face, Ranger whining softly at her feet.
He'll be okay,
Rosa said, putting an arm around her. Men like Jake don't break easily.
But Tyler
just made his biggest mistake. Rosa's voice was hard. He made this personal. Now, it's war. At the police station, Jake was processed, fingerprinted, and placed in a holding cell. The lawyer Elena sent, a sharp woman named Catherine Wells, arrived within the hour.
This is bullshit,
Catherine said bluntly. The assault charges won't hold. There's video evidence showing Tyler as the aggressor. They don't need to hold. They just need to buy time.
Time for what?
Time for Tyler to make his move on Lily while I'm stuck in here. Catherine's eyes narrowed. Then we need to get you out fast. How long? Bail hearing is tomorrow morning.
I'll push for personal recognizance. No flight risk. Decorated military veteran. Community ties through Rosa Martinez. And if the judge is in Prescott's pocket, then we appeal. But Jake, Catherine leaned closer, there's something else you should know. Tyler isn't just charging you with assault. He's claiming you're stalking him. Harassment. Intimidation. That's insane. That's strategic. If he can paint you as the obsessed one, it undermines everything you're building against him. Jake closed his eyes. He's trying to flip the narrative. Exactly. You're not the protector anymore. You're the threat. How do we counter that? With the truth, with witnesses, with evidence. Catherine stood. Get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. Sleep didn't come. Jake lay on the hard cot, staring at the ceiling, running scenarios through his mind. Tyler was smart. Smarter than Jake had given him credit for. Every move he made was calculated to isolate Lily, eliminate her protectors, and reassert control. But there was a flaw in his strategy, a blind spot. Tyler thought like a businessman. He saw people as assets to be acquired and controlled. He couldn't understand loyalty that wasn't bought, couldn't comprehend sacrifice without profit. That was his weakness, and Jake intended to exploit it. The next morning, Jake's phone rang in the evidence lockup. Officer Daniels answered it, against protocol, but something in the caller's voice made him listen. This is David Chen. I need to speak with Commander Harrison immediately. It's about Tyler Prescott, and it's about murder. Daniels hesitated. Then he walked to the holding cell. You have another call. The man says it's urgent. Jake took the phone. David? Jake, I found something that changes everything. David's voice was breathless. Rebecca Santos. The woman who disappeared. I know what happened to her. Tell me. Tyler didn't just hurt her. He killed her. And I have proof. Jake's blood ran cold. What kind of proof? His cabin in the mountains. The one Lily mentioned. I've been investigating it for years, but I could never get close enough. David's voice cracked. Until now. Jake, there's a body buried on that property, and I have the GPS coordinates. How do you know this? Because Tyler told me. 3 years ago, when he was drunk and bragging about how no one could touch him, he said he'd taken care of the problem. He said Rebecca was resting in a beautiful place. David's voice hardened. I thought he was lying, trying to scare me into silence. But I hired a private investigator last month. He found disturbed ground at the exact coordinates Tyler mentioned. Have you told anyone else? Just you, and the FBI agent Marcus put me in touch with. Elena Martinez? No, someone higher, someone with the authority to act immediately. Jake's mind raced. David, listen to me carefully. Don't share this with anyone else, not until we're sure the information can't be buried. I understand. And be careful. If Tyler finds out you're talking, I know the risks. I've known them for 4 years. David's voice steadied. But I'm done being afraid. Rebecca deserved better. So does Lily. So does everyone he's ever hurt. I'll be in touch. Soon. Jake hung up and turned to Officer Daniels. I need you to contact the FBI field office in Seattle. Tell them there's evidence of a homicide connected to Tyler Prescott III. Tell them time is critical. Daniel stared at him. You're serious? Dead serious. Literally. The bail hearing happened 3 hours later. Catherine Wells argued brilliantly. Video evidence from the diner showed Tyler as the aggressor. Character witnesses, including Rosa Martinez,
testified to Jake's integrity.
The assault charges were clearly retaliatory. The judge, an older woman named Patricia Chen, no relation to Lily, listened carefully. "Mr. Harrison," she said finally, "based on the evidence presented, I find the charges against you to be questionable. However, given Mr. Prescott's allegations of ongoing harassment, I'm setting bail at $50,000 with a condition that you have no contact with Tyler Prescott or his associates." "Your Honor, I'm not finished. If new evidence emerges supporting Mr. Harrison's account, this court will revisit the charges against Mr. Prescott." She banged her gavel. "Bail is set. Court is adjourned." Rosa paid the bail with money from the diner's savings. "Don't argue," she said when Jake tried to protest. "Just bring that bastard down." "I will." Outside the courthouse, Jake's phone rang. Elena Martinez. "Jake, the FBI just contacted me. They're sending a team to Tyler's cabin in the mountains." "How soon?" "They're already en route. If there's a body on that property, then Tyler Prescott is facing murder charges, and his father's money won't be able to make that disappear." Jake closed his eyes. "It's happening. It's finally happening." "Not yet. We need Tyler to incriminate himself further. We need him to make a move that proves he's still dangerous." "He will. He's already sent men to break into Lily's apartment. He's already filed false charges against me. His desperation is showing. Then we push harder, force him into the open." "How?" "Lily gives a press conference, tells her story publicly, with video evidence from the diner, testimony from Amanda Torres, and the connection to Rebecca Santos. We create a media storm he can't escape." "That's dangerous. He might try something drastic." "That's what we're counting on. When he does, we'll be ready." Jake drove back to Rosa's house with a single thought pounding through his mind. Tyler Prescott had spent his entire life believing money made him untouchable. He was about to learn the truth. Some things couldn't be bought. Justice was one of them. The FBI team reached Tyler's cabin at 6:47 a.m. Jake received the call while Lily was still sleeping, Ranger curled protectively at the foot of her bed. He stepped outside to take it, his heart pounding with something between hope and dread. "Commander Harrison." The voice belonged to Special Agent Marcus Torres, not his FBI contact Marcus Chen, but a field agent assigned to the case. "We found something." "Tell me." "Human remains, buried approximately 50 meters from the main structure. Female, early 20s based on skeletal analysis. We're running DNA now, but given the location and the timeline, it's Rebecca Santos." "We believe so." Torres paused. "Harrison, this changes everything. We're no longer dealing with assault and stalking. This is homicide." "What do you need from me?" "Keep Lily Chen safe. Tyler Prescott doesn't know we found the body yet. When he does, he's going to become extremely dangerous." "How long until you can arrest him?" "We need positive ID on the remains first. DNA results take time, even expedited. Maybe 48 hours. "That's too long." "I know. But if we move too fast, his lawyers will tear the case apart. We need this airtight." Jake closed his eyes. 48 hours. "We can hold for 48 hours. Good. I'll be in touch." The call ended. Jake stood alone in the early morning light, processing what he'd just learned. Rebecca Santos, 22 years old, nursing student. Gone for 3 years, and all that time she'd been lying in a shallow grave while Tyler Prescott walked free. Not anymore. Inside the house, Lily was waking up. She found Jake in the kitchen, coffee already brewing, his face unreadable. "Something happened." It wasn't a question. "Yes." "Tell me." Jake told her. About the cabin. About the remains.
about the 48 hours they needed to hold before the FBI could move. Lily's face went through a dozen emotions: shock, horror, grief, fear, and finally, something that looked almost like relief. "He killed her," she whispered. "He actually killed her." "We always suspected." Suspecting and knowing are different things. Lily sank into a chair. "I could have been her. If I hadn't left when I did." "Don't think about that." "How can I not think about it?" 3 years, Jake. 3 years she was buried in the ground while he was dating other women, terrorizing other victims, living his life like nothing happened. And now he's going to pay for it. Will he? His family has money, lawyers, connections. Even with a body changes everything. Murder can't be bought off. Murder can't be silenced with NDAs. Jake sat across from her. "This is different. This is the end." "I want to believe you." "Then believe me." Rosa appeared in the doorway, shotgun in hand, as always. "I heard voices. What's happening?" Jake filled her in. Rosa's face hardened into something ancient and fierce. "That boy killed a woman and buried her like trash?" "Yes." "Then we don't wait 48 hours. We end this today." "Rosa, don't Rosa me. I've seen men like Tyler Prescott my whole life. They don't stop until someone stops them." "Every hour we wait is another hour he's out there planning something." "The FBI needs time to build the case properly." "And while they're building, what happens to Lily? What happens to all of us?" Jake was silent. Because Rosa was right. Waiting was dangerous. But moving too fast was dangerous too. "There might be another way," he said finally. "What way?" Elena Martinez suggested a press conference. Lily tells her story publicly. With the video from the diner and Amanda Torres's testimony, we create enough pressure that Tyler can't hide anymore. And if he retaliates? Then he does exactly what we want. He makes a move, and we catch him. Lily looked up. "You want to use me as bait?" "I want to use his obsession against him. There's a difference." "It doesn't feel different." "Lily, look at me." Jake waited until her eyes met his. "If you do this, if you go public, there's no going back. Tyler will know you're fighting. His father will know. The whole world will know. It's dangerous. More dangerous than hiding? Different dangerous. But also," Jake paused, "also empowering. You stop being a victim. You become a threat. And men like Tyler don't know how to handle threats they can't control." Lily was quiet for a long moment. Then she stood. "When?" "Today. The sooner the better." "Okay." "Okay what?" "Okay, I'll do it. I'll tell my story. All of it." Her voice strengthened. "He took 3 years of my life. He killed Rebecca. He terrorized God knows how many other women. I'm done hiding. I'm done being afraid." Jake smiled, the first real smile she'd seen from him. "That's the spirit." The press conference was arranged for 2 p.m. at the local community center. Elena Martinez handled the logistics from her end, coordinating with media outlets, ensuring legal protections, preparing statements. Catherine Wells remained on standby in case Tyler's lawyers attempted any last-minute injunctions. Lily spent the morning preparing. Not physically, there wasn't much to do on that front, but mentally. Rehearsing what she would say, steeling herself for the questions, accepting that after today, her privacy would be gone forever. "You don't have to include everything," Jake said as they drove to the venue. "Just the facts. Just enough to establish the pattern." "No." Lily shook her head. "If I'm doing this, I'm doing it completely. Every detail, every bruise, every night I spent crying on the floor wondering if I'd survive until morning. That's going to be hard. Living through it was hard. Talking about it is just words. Jake glanced at her. You've changed. I've been changing since you walked into that diner. You showed me what it looks like to fight back instead of running. I just did what anyone should do. No, you did what almost no one does. You saw someone in trouble, and you got involved. You risked your career, your freedom, your life. For a stranger. You're not a stranger anymore. Lily reached over and touched his arm. Thank you. Whatever happens today, thank you. Save your thanks. This isn't over yet. The community center was packed. Local news crews, national outlets that had caught wind of the story, print journalists with notebooks, cameras everywhere, their red lights blinking like predatory eyes. Lily approached the podium with Rosa on one side and Jake on the other. Ranger sat at his feet, alert, sensing the tension in the room. Thank you all for coming. Lily's voice was steady, stronger than she'd expected. My name is Lily Chen. 3 years ago, I was a college student with dreams of becoming a doctor. Today, I'm a waitress, hiding from a man who believes he owns me. She paused, letting the words sink in. His name is Tyler Prescott III. Some of you know him as a businessman, a philanthropist, a pillar of the community. I know him as the man who beat me, stalked me, and destroyed my life because I had the audacity to leave him. A murmur rippled through the crowd. I'm not alone. There are other women. Amanda Torres, who was paid to stay silent. Rebecca Santos, who disappeared 3 years ago after refusing to be silenced. Lily's voice cracked slightly. Yesterday, the FBI found human remains on a property owned by Tyler Prescott. They believe those remains belong to Rebecca. Gasps. Cameras flashing. Reporters shouting questions. Lily held up her hand. I'm telling you this not for sympathy, not for attention. I'm telling you because silence enables predators. Because every woman who stays quiet makes it easier for men like Tyler to hurt the next one. And because I'm done being afraid. She looked directly into the nearest camera. Tyler, if you're watching, and I know you are, hear this. You don't own me. You never did. And whatever you're planning right now, whatever revenge you're plotting, it won't work. Because I'm not alone anymore. I have allies, I have evidence, and I have something you've never understood. Courage that can't be bought. The room erupted. Questions flew from every direction. Reporters pushed forward. Cameras jostled for position. Jake stepped closer to Lily, one hand on her shoulder, the other on Ranger's collar. That's enough for now, he said into the microphone. Ms. Chen will make herself available for individual interviews once the legal proceedings are underway. Thank you. They retreated to a back room while security held the crowd at bay. Lily collapsed into a chair, shaking. You did good, Jake said. Did I? I feel like I'm going to throw up. That's normal. The adrenaline's wearing off. What happens now? Now we wait. Tyler saw that. His father saw it. Every news network in the country is going to run it. They're going to have to respond somehow. And when they do, we'll be ready. Tyler Prescott watched the press conference from his penthouse apartment. His face was white. His hands trembled. The glass of whiskey he'd been holding lay shattered on the floor, its contents soaking into the carpet. Turn it off, he said quietly. His assistant, Craig, didn't move. Sir, I said turn it off. Craig grabbed the remote, and the screen went dark. Tyler stood motionless for a long moment. Then he picked up the nearest object, a crystal vase worth $3,000, and hurled it against the wall. Who does she think she is? The vase exploded into glittering fragments. Sir, please. Don't sir please me. That little whore just went on television and accused me of murder. Murder! We should call your lawyers. My lawyers can't fix this.
This isn't a lawsuit. This is—" Tyler stopped. His breathing was ragged, his eyes wild. "This is war."
"What do you want to do?" Tyler turned slowly. Something had shifted in his face. Something dark and final. "Get the team together. All of them. We're going to that town. Tonight." "Sir, the FBI hasn't arrested me yet. That means they don't have enough. They're bluffing." Tyler grabbed his jacket. "But I'm not bluffing. Not anymore." "What are you going to do?" Tyler smiled, a terrible expression that held no warmth, no humanity. "I'm going to finish what I started." The attack came at 11:47 p.m. Jake had been expecting it. He'd stationed himself outside Rosa's house, Ranger alert beside him, watching every shadow, listening for every sound. But Tyler didn't come alone this time. 4 vehicles, 8 men, professional operators with professional equipment. Jake's phone buzzed, text from an unknown number. "Last chance, soldier boy. Walk away now or die with her." Jake typed back, "Come and try." The first vehicle rolled to a stop 30 feet from the house. Men emerged, spreading out, taking positions. Jake pulled out his own phone and hit a speed dial. "Torres, they're here. Multiple hostiles. Armed. We're 15 minutes out. Can you hold?" "I'll hold." He hung up and turned to Ranger. "Ready, boy?" The German Shepherd's growl was all the answer he needed. Inside the house, Rosa and Lily had already moved to the safe room, a reinforced closet Jake had prepared on the first day. "Stay quiet," Rosa whispered, shotgun across her lap. "Stay calm." "I'm trying," Lily's voice shook. "I'm really trying." "Think about something else. Think about tomorrow. Think about testifying. Think about watching that bastard get led away in chains. What if there isn't a tomorrow? Then we go down fighting. That's how it's always been. That's how it always will be." Outside, the first shots were fired. Not at Jake. Warning shots, meant to draw him out, to force him into the open. He didn't take the bait. Instead, he moved silently through the darkness, circling behind the lead vehicle, using the shadows the way he'd been trained. Ranger followed, a phantom at his heels. "Where is he?" one of Tyler's men hissed. "I don't see him. Check the perimeter." "You check the perimeter. I'm staying here." Jake struck. He came out of the darkness like a blade, taking down the first man before he could raise his weapon. Ranger hit the second, 70 pounds of muscle and teeth driving him to the ground. "Contact! We have contact!" Shots rang out. Jake rolled behind a car, pulling his sidearm, returning fire. "Ranger, cover!" The dog moved instantly, positioning himself between Jake and the nearest threat. "Fall back!" someone shouted. "Fall back to the vehicles!" But they weren't fast enough. Jake was everywhere at once, a ghost forged in battlefields that these hired guns couldn't imagine. He disabled 2 more men before they could regroup, sent another running with a wound that would require surgery. And then Tyler appeared. He walked through the chaos like he was strolling through a garden party, gun in hand, smile on his face. "Very impressive, Commander. You took out half my team in under 2 minutes. They told me you were good, but I didn't believe them." Jake stepped into the open, keeping his weapon trained on Tyler's chest. "It's over, Tyler. The FBI knows about Rebecca. They found the body. Every cop in 3 states is looking for you right now." "I know." Tyler's smile didn't waver. "That's why I'm here. If I'm going down, I'm taking her with me." "That's not going to happen." "No?" Tyler raised his gun. "And how exactly are you going to stop me?" "Like this." Ranger launched. The German Shepherd crossed the distance in a heartbeat, teeth finding Tyler's gun arm before he could fire. The weapon flew from his grip. Tyler screamed, a high, terrified sound that echoed through the night. "Call him off! Call him off!" Ranger, hold! The dog didn't release, but he stopped shaking. Tyler was pinned to the ground, whimpering, his arm a ruin of torn fabric and blood. You're under arrest. Jake stood over him. Stalking, assault, conspiracy, and murder.
I didn't kill anyone. Tell that to Rebecca Santos. Tell that to the body we found in your cabin.
That wasn't... You can't prove... DNA doesn't lie, Tyler. Neither do the recordings Amanda Torres kept, or the files David Chen compiled, or the testimony of every woman you've ever hurt. Sirens, growing closer. That's the FBI, Jake said, right on time. Tyler's face contorted with rage and fear and something that might have been desperation. You don't understand.
My father will fix this. He always fixes everything.
You can't touch us. You can't... Your father is being arrested right now. Jake pulled out his phone, showing Tyler the live feed from a news helicopter. FBI vehicles surrounding the Prescott family estate. Agents moving through the front door. No, that's impossible. Nothing's impossible when you're facing federal murder charges. Harrison Prescott is done protecting you. He's too busy trying to protect himself.
Tyler's face crumbled.
For a moment, he looked like a child, lost, frightened, unable to comprehend a world that didn't bend to his will. Then the mask returned. This isn't over, he spat. My lawyers, your lawyers can't help you now. This isn't about money anymore. This is about justice. Justice? You think this is justice? Tyler laughed, a broken, bitter sound. You think anything you do matters? Women like Lily, like Rebecca, like all of them, they're nothing. They're replaceable.
Even if you put me away, there'll be someone else. Someone who understands that money is the only thing that matters.
Jake crouched down to Tyler's level. That's where you're wrong. Money buys a lot of things, but it doesn't buy courage. It doesn't buy loyalty. It doesn't buy the will to stand up and fight even when everything is stacked against you. He met Tyler's eyes. Lily Chen has more strength in her little finger than you have in your entire empire. That's why you're on the ground and she's still standing. FBI vehicles poured into the street. Agents surrounded the scene, taking custody of Tyler's remaining men, securing evidence, documenting everything. Special Agent Torres approached Jake. Hell of a night, Commander. Feels like any other Tuesday. Torres almost smiled. Tyler Prescott III, you're under arrest for the murder of Rebecca Santos, the stalking and assault of Lily Chen, and conspiracy to commit additional felonies. He nodded to the agents. Take him. They pulled Tyler to his feet, rough, unceremonious. Exactly the treatment he deserved. You'll regret this, Tyler screamed as they dragged him toward a waiting vehicle. All of you! I'll make you all regret this! No one listened. His voice faded into the night, growing smaller, losing power with every step. Jake watched him go. Then he turned toward the house. Lily was standing on the porch. She'd emerged from the safe room at some point. Rosa couldn't have stopped her, probably hadn't tried, and she'd watched the whole thing. It's over, Jake said quietly. Is it? Her voice was hollow. Is it really over? He's going to prison. His father can't save him. The evidence is overwhelming. I know. I heard. Lily's eyes were fixed on the vehicle carrying Tyler away. But he was right about one thing. There'll be others. There'll always be others. Probably.
Then what was the point? Jake climbed the porch steps and stood beside her.
The point is that you stopped this one. You saved yourself. You helped save the women who came before and the women who would have come after. That matters. Does it? It has to. Because if we don't believe that individual acts of courage matter, then nothing does. Lily was silent for a long moment. Then she leaned against him exhaustion finally winning.
"Thank you," she whispered, "for everything."
You're the one who did the hard part. You stood up. You told your story. You refused to be silenced. I couldn't have done it without you. You could have. It just would have taken longer. Lily laughed. Weak, broken, but genuine. Is that what you tell yourself? It's the truth. You were always strong, Lily. Tyler just made you forget. Rosa emerged from the house, shotgun still in hand, eyes sharp. Is it done? It's done. Good. She set down the weapon. Then I'm going to make coffee, because after tonight, we all need it. She disappeared inside. Jake and Lily remained on the porch, watching the FBI vehicles drive away, watching the night slowly give way to the first hints of dawn. What happens now? Lily asked. Trials, testimonies, the long, slow process of justice grinding forward. Jake paused. It won't be easy. Tyler's lawyers will fight every step. His family will try to bury what they can. But we'll win? We'll win because the evidence is too strong, because the victims are too many, and because people like you had the courage to speak. Lily nodded slowly. And after? When it's all over? Jake turned to look at her, really look, for the first time since everything began. After, you live. You go back to school. You become a doctor like you always wanted. You build a life that Tyler Prescott can never touch. What about you? I was just passing through. Were you? Lily met his eyes. Because it doesn't feel like passing through. It feels like staying. Jake was quiet for a long moment. Ask me again when the trials are over. I will. I'm counting on it. Ranger padded up the steps and pressed against Lily's legs. She reached down automatically, fingers sinking into his fur. He likes you, Jake observed. The feeling's mutual. He's a good judge of character. Better than his handler? Jake smiled. The second real smile she'd seen from him. Sometimes, the sun crested the horizon, painting the world in shades of gold and rose. A new day. A new beginning. And somewhere in a federal detention facility, Tyler Prescott III was learning what it felt like to be powerless. The hunters had become the hunted, and justice for once had won. The trial began on a gray Monday morning, 8 weeks after the arrest. Lily walked into the federal courthouse with Jake on one side and Rosa on the other. Ranger trotted beside them, his service vest marking him as official, his presence a constant comfort. Ready? Jake asked. No. Lily's voice was steady despite her answer. But I'm going to do it anyway. That's what courage looks like. The courtroom was packed. Media from across the country had descended on the small town, hungry for every detail of the case that had captivated the nation. The Prescott family sat in the gallery. Harrison Prescott, facing his own charges, had been allowed to attend under heavy guard. His face was stone, but his eyes burned with barely contained fury. And at the defense table sat Tyler Prescott III. He looked different, smaller somehow. The designer suits had been replaced by prison orange. The perfect hair was unkempt. The arrogant smile was gone, replaced by something desperate and feral. When Lily entered, his eyes followed her across the room. She didn't look at him. All rise! Judge Eleanor Washington took her seat. 63 years old, appointed by 3 different presidents, known for her fairness and her absolute intolerance for games. Be seated. We are here for the United States of America versus Tyler Harrison Prescott III. The charges include murder in the first degree, stalking, assault, conspiracy, and witness intimidation. She looked at the prosecution. Counselor, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense? Tyler's lead attorney, a silver-haired man who had defended billionaires and politicians, rose slowly. Ready, Your Honor, though we maintain that our client is innocent of all charges. That's for the jury to decide. Let's begin. The prosecution's opening was methodical and devastating. Elena Martinez stood before the jury, her voice clear and confident. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is about a man who believed his money made him untouchable. Tyler Prescott III was born into wealth and power. He was raised to believe that he could take whatever he wanted, hurt whoever he pleased, and never face consequences. She paused, letting the words sink in. For years, he was right. He stalked women. He beat them. He threatened them. And when one of them, Rebecca Santos, refused to be silenced, he killed her and buried her body on his private property. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. The evidence will show a pattern of predation spanning more than a decade. You will hear from multiple survivors. You will see documentation of injuries, threats, and systematic intimidation. And you will see the forensic evidence recovered from Tyler Prescott's cabin, the remains of a young woman who made the mistake of believing she could escape. Elena turned to face the jury directly. Tyler Prescott believed he was untouchable. Today, you have the opportunity to prove him wrong. The defense's opening was exactly what Jake expected. Ladies and gentlemen, my client is innocent. The prosecution wants you to believe a carefully constructed narrative, a story of a wealthy man preying on vulnerable women. But stories are not evidence. Emotions are not proof. The attorney paced slowly, projecting calm confidence. You will hear testimony from women who claim to be victims, but ask yourselves, why did they wait years to speak? Why did they accept money and sign agreements if they were truly abused? Why did they only come forward when media attention made it profitable? Objection! Elena was on her feet. Counsel is testifying. Sustained. Mr. Hartford, save it for closing arguments. Of course, Your Honor. Hartford smiled smoothly. My point is simply this. My client deserves the presumption of innocence. Don't let emotion override evidence. Don't let popular opinion replace justice. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Witness after witness took the stand. Amanda Torres, trembling but determined, describing years of abuse. David Chen, presenting the evidence he'd gathered about Rebecca Santos. Medical experts explaining the injuries documented in hospital records. And then it was Lily's turn. She walked to the witness stand on legs that felt like water. The entire courtroom fell silent as she took the oath, as she sat down, as she faced the prosecutor who would guide her through the hardest testimony of her life. Ms. Chen, please describe your relationship with the defendant. I met Tyler 3 years ago. I was a college student. He was charming, attentive, everything I thought I wanted. Lily's voice was quiet but steady. It took me 6 months to realize what he really was. What was he? A monster. The word hung in the air. He controlled everything. What I wore, who I talked to, where I went. If I questioned him, if I disagreed with anything, he would... Her voice broke. Take your time, Elena said gently. He would hit me. Not in the face at first. He was careful about that. He hit me where the bruises wouldn't show. Told me it was my fault. Told me I made him do it. Tears streamed down her face. I believed him. For 2 years, I believed him. What made you finally leave? He put me in the hospital. Broken rib. Concussion. The doctors asked questions, but Tyler's family, they made the records disappear. Made the police report disappear. Lily wiped her eyes. That's when I realized no one was going to help me, that I had to save myself. And when you left, what happened? He found me. Again and again, no matter where I went, no matter how carefully I hid, he found me. He said I belonged to him. He said if he couldn't have me, no one would.
Did you believe he meant that? Lily looked at Tyler for the first time. Yes, I believe he would have killed me, just like he killed Rebecca Santos.
Objection! Hartford was on his feet. The witness cannot testify to events she didn't witness. Sustained. Ms. Chen, please confine your testimony to your own experiences. Of course. Lily turned back to the jury. I can only tell you what I know. And what I know is that Tyler Prescott is dangerous. He hurt me. He hurt others.
And if he's not stopped, he'll hurt someone else. The cross-examination was brutal. Hartford attacked every detail. Her memory, her motives, her relationship with Jake.
Miss Chen, isn't it true that you're romantically involved with Commander Harrison?
No.
You've been living with him.
I've been under his protection. There's a difference. But you're grateful to him, aren't you? So grateful that you might say whatever he wanted you to say?
Commander Harrison never told me what to say. He told me to tell the truth. That's what I'm doing.
The truth as you see it.
The truth as it is. Hartford smiled condescendingly. Miss Chen, you signed the statement 2 years ago claiming that Mr. Prescott never assaulted you. Do you remember that?
I was terrified. He threatened to kill me if I didn't sign.
But you signed it.
Under oath. Under duress.
So you admit you've lied under oath before? Lily's jaw tightened.
I admit I was scared. I admit I did what I had to do to survive.
But I'm not scared anymore. And I'm not lying. Hartford turned to the jury with a skeptical expression. No further questions. The forensic evidence was undeniable. DNA from the remains matched Rebecca Santos. Soil analysis placed her burial at approximately 3 years prior, matching the timeline of her disappearance.
Tyler's DNA was found on the rope used to bind her.
These results are conclusive, the forensic expert testified. There is no doubt that the remains belong to Rebecca Santos, and there is no innocent explanation for how the defendant's DNA came to be on the binding materials. Hartford tried to challenge the evidence. Chain of custody issues, possible contamination, planted evidence. None of it stuck. Closing arguments came on a Friday afternoon.
Elena Martinez stood before the jury one final time.
You've heard the evidence. You've seen the pattern. Tyler Prescott didn't just assault women. He systematically destroyed them. He used his money and his connections to silence anyone who threatened to expose him. And when Rebecca Santos refused to be silenced, he killed her. She paused. The defense wants you to believe this is about emotion, not evidence. But the evidence is overwhelming. DNA, medical records,
testimony from multiple survivors, a body buried on his property.
Elena looked at the jury, 12 ordinary people about to make an extraordinary decision. Tyler Prescott believed he was untouchable. Prove him wrong. Show everyone that no amount of money can buy immunity from justice. Find him guilty. Hartford's closing was a masterclass in deflection. Reasonable doubt. That's all I ask you to consider. Not whether Tyler Prescott is a good man. He clearly isn't.
Not whether he made mistakes. He obviously did.
But whether the prosecution has proven beyond reasonable doubt that he committed murder. He spread his hands. DNA on a rope? Perhaps he touched it innocently. A body on his property? Perhaps someone planted it to frame him. Testimony from women with grudges? Perhaps they're exaggerating, looking for attention or money. Hartford's voice dropped. I'm not asking you to like Tyler Prescott. I'm asking you to do your duty, to follow the law,
to acquire proof beyond reasonable doubt. And if you have any doubt, any at all, You must acquit." The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Lily sat in the hallway, unable to eat, unable to speak, unable to do anything except wait. Jake was beside her, Ranger at their feet, Rosa pacing nearby. "What if they believe him?" Lily whispered. "What if his lawyers—" "Don't think like that." "I can't help it. I've seen what money can do. I've seen how the system fails." "This time is different." "How do you know?" "Because the evidence is too strong, because the witnesses are too many, because the whole world is watching." Jake took her hand. "And because justice has to win sometimes. Otherwise, what's the point?" The door opened. A court officer appeared. "They've reached a verdict." The courtroom was silent as the jury filed back in. Judge Washington looked at the foreperson. "Have you reached a unanimous verdict?" "We have, Your Honor." "On the charge of murder in the first degree, how do you find?" Lily's breath stopped. "We find the defendant guilty." The courtroom erupted. Reporters shouted. Cameras flashed. Harrison Prescott cursed loudly before being restrained. "Order! Order in the court!" Judge Washington banged her gavel. "On the charge of stalking, how do you find?" "Guilty." "On the charge of assault?" "Guilty." "On the charge of conspiracy?" "Guilty." "On the charge of witness intimidation?" "Guilty." Tyler Prescott sat motionless, his face blank with shock. This wasn't supposed to happen. This couldn't happen. His father's money, his lawyers, the system that had always protected him. Gone. All of it gone. "The defendant is remanded to custody pending sentencing." Judge Washington's voice was cold. "This court is adjourned." They led Tyler away in chains. As he passed Lily, something in his mask cracked. "This isn't over," he hissed. "I'll appeal. Goodbye, Tyler." Lily's voice was steady. "I hope you find peace, because you'll never find freedom." His face contorted with rage. He lunged toward her, or tried to. The guards held him back, dragged him through the side door. And then he was gone. Lily stood in the emptying courtroom, surrounded by people who had fought for her, and she cried. Not from sadness, not from fear, from relief. It was finally over. The sentencing came 3 weeks later. Judge Washington's voice was steel as she addressed Tyler Prescott. "Mr. Prescott, you have been convicted by a jury of your peers of murder, stalking, assault, conspiracy, and witness intimidation. These are not minor offenses. These are crimes that destroyed lives, ended lives, and caused immeasurable suffering." She shuffled her papers. "The prosecution has requested the maximum sentence. The defense has asked for leniency based on your lack of prior criminal record and your family's contributions to society." She looked at Tyler with something close to contempt. "Here is what I see. A man who believed his money made him special, who thought he could hurt women without consequence, who killed a young woman and buried her like trash because she had the audacity to stand up to him." Her voice hardened. "You are not special, Mr. Prescott. You are a criminal, and you will be treated as such. On the charge of murder in the first degree, I sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole." Tyler flinched as if struck. "On the remaining charges, I sentence you to an additional 25 years to run consecutively. You will spend the rest of your natural life behind bars." She banged her gavel. "Take him away." They led Tyler Prescott out of the courtroom for the last time. His father, also convicted on conspiracy charges, would join him in federal prison within the month. The Prescott empire was finished, and Lily Chen was finally free. 6 months later, Mama Rosa's diner had become something more.
The small restaurant had been transformed into a community center for abuse survivors. A support group met every Tuesday night. Legal aid was available 3 days a week, and in the corner, a memorial wall held photographs of women who hadn't survived, including Rebecca Santos, whose family had finally been able to bury her properly. "We're almost out of coffee," Rosa called from the kitchen. "I'll get more." Lily was already moving, her movements confident now, unhesitating. She'd changed in the months since the trial, stood taller, smiled more easily, looked people in the eye without flinching. "Mija, slow down. You're not a waitress anymore." Old habits. Speaking of old habits, Rosa nodded toward the door. Jake walked in. He was in civilian clothes now, jeans and a flannel shirt that made him look almost ordinary. Almost. Ranger trotted beside him, tail wagging when he saw Lily. "Hey." "Hey yourself." Lily knelt to scratch behind Ranger's ears. "How was the trip?" "Long, but necessary." Jake sat at the counter, his usual spot. "The foundation is officially registered. First grants go out next month." The foundation, named for Rebecca Santos, would provide resources for women escaping abuse, relocation assistance, legal aid, counseling, all the things Lily had needed and couldn't find when she was running. "That's amazing." Lily poured him coffee. "Rebecca's family must be happy." "They are. Her sister cried when I told her." Jake wrapped his hands around the mug. Said it was the first time something good had come from something so terrible. Something good from something terrible. Lily smiled softly. "I like that. How are you doing?" "Better. Every day a little better." She leaned against the counter. "I started taking classes again, online for now, but the university said they'll reinstate my scholarship for the fall semester. That's great news. Pre-med, like I always wanted." Lily's smile widened. 4 years behind schedule, but I'm doing it. You'll make a good doctor." "You think so?" "I know so. You understand suffering. You know what it means to fight through pain. That makes a difference." Lily was quiet for a moment. "What about you? What comes next?" Jake looked around the diner, at the support group gathering in the back, at Rosa serving coffee with her usual warmth, at the photographs on the memorial wall. "I was thinking about staying." Lily's breath caught. "Really?" "This place needs people who don't look away. Needs someone who can help others the way—" He paused. "The way I should have helped my sister years ago." "Jake, I can't change what happened to Sarah. I can't bring her back. But I can make sure it matters. I can make sure her death wasn't just another tragedy buried and forgotten." Lily moved around the counter and sat beside him. "You already have. You saved me. You helped put Tyler away. You created a foundation that will help thousands of women. It's not enough. It's never enough. But it's something. And something is better than nothing." Jake looked at her. "When did you get so wise?" "When someone showed me that courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about doing the right thing, even when you're terrified." She touched his arm. "You taught me that." "You taught yourself. I just opened the door." "Then stay. Keep opening doors. Keep helping people who can't help themselves." "Is that what you want?" Lily met his eyes. "Yes. It's what I want." A smile, rare and genuine, crossed Jake's face. "Then I'll stay." Ranger's tail thumped against the floor, as if he understood. 1 year after the trial, Lily stood at a podium. The annual gala for the Rebecca Santos Foundation had drawn hundreds of guests, survivors, advocates, donors, and supporters from across the country. The small town that had once been a place to hide had become a beacon of hope. "Thank you all for being here tonight." Lily's voice carried through the ballroom, confident and clear. 1 year ago, I stood in a courtroom and told my story. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done, but it was also the most important. She paused. I spent 3 years running from a man who believed he owned me. I lost my education, my friends, my sense of self. I honestly believed I would never escape. Her eyes found Jake in the crowd. He nodded slightly. But I did escape. Not because I was special or brave, because someone refused to look away. Because a man walked into a diner, saw me in trouble, and chose to help instead of minding his own business. She looked at the audience. That's what we're here to celebrate tonight. Not my survival, but the power of ordinary people choosing to act. The power of refusing to look away. The power of standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves. Lily gestured to the photograph of Rebecca Santos displayed behind her. Rebecca Santos didn't survive. She didn't get the chance to stand here and tell her story. But her memory lives on in the work we do. Every woman we help, every life we save, every predator we expose. That's Rebecca's legacy. That's what her death means. She straightened. Tonight, I ask you to do something simple. When you see someone suffering, a neighbor, a coworker, a stranger on the street, don't look away. Don't assume someone else will help. Don't tell yourself it's not your business. Her voice rose. Be the person who acts. Be the person who calls for help. Be the person who stands between the vulnerable and those who would hurt them. Because that's how we change the world. Not with grand gestures, but with small acts of courage repeated again and again until they become unstoppable. She smiled. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting this work. And thank you for refusing to look away. The applause was thunderous. After the gala, Jake found Lily on the terrace. She was looking at the stars, Ranger lying contentedly at her feet. Great speech. I meant every word. I know. Jake stood beside her. You've come a long way. We've come a long way. Lily turned to face him. I couldn't have done any of this without you. Yes, you could have. You always say that. Because it's always true, Jake smiled. I was just the spark. You were the fire. Poetic. I have my moments. They stood in comfortable silence, looking at the stars. What happens now? Lily asked. Now we keep going. One day at a time. One person at a time. One small act of courage at a time. Until people like Tyler Prescott can't hide anymore. Until women like Rebecca Santos don't have to die. Until looking away becomes unthinkable. That sounds like a lot of work. It is. Jake turned to look at her. But it's work worth doing. Lily smiled. The smile of a woman who had walked through fire and emerged stronger. Then let's do it. Together. Together. Ranger's tail thumped once against the ground, as if sealing the promise. The night stretched on, full of stars and possibility. Two people who had found each other in the darkness. Two souls who had refused to look away. And the quiet certainty that no matter what came next, they would face it together. The world didn't become perfect that night. There would always be men like Tyler Prescott. Men who believed money meant ownership. Who thought power entitled them to cruelty. Who used love as a weapon. But there would also always be people who refused to look away. People who understood that rescue wasn't a single act, but a commitment. People who knew that sometimes the greatest courage isn't fighting the enemy, it's protecting the innocent. Sometimes miracles don't come as thunder or fire from the sky. They come quietly, through a stranger who noticed, a soldier who cared, a dog who knew the difference between fear and safety, and a woman who found the courage to stop running and start fighting. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs hope today. Leave a comment and tell us where you're watching from. Subscribe to our channel for more stories of courage and quiet miracles. And remember, if you see something wrong, don't look away.
Your action might be the rescue someone has been praying for. You matter. Your voice matters. And silence is never neutral. God bless you and your family with protection, peace, and the courage to stand for those who cannot stand alone. Because in the end, we are not saved by looking away. We are saved by looking toward each other.